Hi guys, Ace here.
And I'm That Weird Collector.
And yesterday we saw
Ant-Man!
Yeah, Ant-Man.
Starring Paul Rudd and Michael Clark Duncan and... No, what is it?
No,
Michael...
that's
yeah, I know.
I think Michael Clark Duncan is dead, isn't he?
Yeah. Who am I thinking of? Who is he?
I don't know.
The guy who played Hank Pym.
I don't even know the actor myself.
I don't remember his name. But that was basically the rest of the cast was a bunch of people we don't know. So,
yeah.
Did you like the movie?
Yeah, I did. The only, I mean, it was well paced. It was very entertaining to watch. They even the titular character even had a fight with one of the Avengers, like a lesser known Avenger, the Falcon, and beat the crap out of him basically. But the only complaint I have about the movie is that they seem to be inconsistent with the weight of the titular character while he was shrunk. Sometimes he was heavy enough, like as heavy as a human, to when he fell on the roof of a car, he made a small dent in it. And then sometimes he's the weight of an ant, so that he can fly on the back of an ant, of a flying ant. So it didn't really explain that.
Yeah. And without giving spoilers, I guess this movie is designed to set up Phase 3 of Marvel's Cinematic Universe. Basically, that's what the whole movie is designed to do, and I think it did its job pretty well. If they didn't include Falcon, though, I think they would have gotten away with it being a standalone movie.
Yeah.
But the name of Ant-Man's so connected to the Avengers that it
and then of course, the scientist Hank Pym character made a reference to the Avengers, saying like first of all, the titular character said, "First step, call the Avengers," and he's like,
"No, how dare you? I'm not giving my tech to one of those damn Starks." And allude to a flashback scene in which he encounters Howard Stark.
At least I think it's Howard Stark. It looks like Howard Stark.
I'm pretty sure he said Howard
in
the scene.
Yeah. And also, he made a little joke. Besides, they're too busy dropping cities on the ground. And then, I don't really think this is a spoiler. It was kind of obvious this was going to happen, but at the very end, he basically gets invited to become an Avenger, the titular character.
Yeah, basically. Everyone was pretty sure that was going to happen. Anyone who's read the comic books probably knew that was going to happen. It happened in an interesting way for the movie, and not just a normal want to join us.
Yeah, the comic relief character,
the generic
Mexican stereotype.
Yes, unfortunately. A few of these characters played stereotypes really well.
Yeah. There was a Russian stereotype one. There was a black guy stereotype one.
Yeah.
All in this little group.
They all played their characters well, probably to a T, I'd say. If there was one throwaway character, I'd probably say it was the titular character's ex-wife. I mean, she wasn't really there for anything other than add 2 lines of dialogue and add a bit to the character. I think it's Scott Lone or something like that. I know his first name was Scott. I can't remember his last name. But yeah, everyone was good. Really good bad guy. I thought the bad guy was
he
did his job really well.
He kind of reminded me of the bad guy from the first Iron Man movie, you know, the one played by, what's his name, can't remember his name. But yeah, it's the bald guy with the beard from the first Iron Man. He's like that, just without the beard and younger.
Yeah. Although, I think the science, well, some would say illogical, I think they explained it really well in teaching it to Scott. And at the same time, I like the fact they gave an ultimatum, like, what happens if you go overboard? Which is what how they explained why Ant-Man basically didn't have a partner. Although there was a scene, this movie liked to fit, like, a lot of fake outs. Like, they threw up the credits near the end, making you think the movie's over, but then they were like, no, here's an extra scene, and then more credits.
Well, that's called, I think, a mid-credit scene or something, or
I don't know.
yeah,
But,
it's like an end credit scene, but it's in the middle of the credits.
I
so
guess
it's
this can-
still technically after the movie.
Yeah, I guess this can be kind of spoilers, but the side character Evangeline Lilly will eventually become Firefly, Ant-Man's partner in the comics. It's shown in that after credit scene.
Firefly, I actually hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah, yeah, I believe that's what I saw. But she will become Ant-Man's sidekick,
Yeah.
so to speak, sidekick / love interest, because
Because you can't have a movie without pairing up characters,
no.
apparently.
Although I think Evangeline Lilly did a good job as not exactly a sidekick, but I don't think she was there just for fan service.
Yeah.
I don't think there was that. She played her character well.
Yeah, the thing about the going subatomic, basically, the way that the science was explained is that it shrinks the space in between molecules. Now, this is just, nerdy science stuff, but if that were to actually happen, you would remain the same weight and just become denser. A human the size of an ant would be as dense as a white dwarf star. And then if you were to go subatomic, you would basically collapse into a quantum singularity, which is a tiny black hole.
Well, the fictional universe decided to change it up slightly. You just kept shrinking until you were so small that you were beyond time and space, in essentially a realm where nothing else exists but you and Hank Pym's wife.
Well,
apparently.
him and some misty fog and some weird CGI mirror triangle things like in the end of Interstellar.
And apparently Hank Pym's wife somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, potentially. She might still be there. We don't know. He got out. I guess it's still spoilers, but
Yeah, but then you got to keep in mind if how old would she be when she got out? Would she age or would time have stopped? Or
they said time and space don't matter in there anymore. So time, sure, it's been. I guess.
So maybe it could be like a Captain America thing where she just wakes up and suddenly what happened?
Possibly. They could do that in the second movie because it looks like Hank Pym is going to probably go back in there looking for her. I can imagine. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else, Ellie.
Yeah.
I think definitely Paul Rudd played a good non-superhero hero. I mean, he's definitely not the typical superhero, but he definitely played the part well enough to make him a believable protagonist and guy with a fancy suit that gives him powers.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me, also the Hank Pym character kind of made a funny little insult to Tony Stark calling his Iron Man suit a toy, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine people comparing Iron Man and Ant-Man because they both don't have powers and wear fancy suits. But
yeah.
That's the extent of their comparison.
If you really, in all reality, I think Iron Man's suit would kick Ant-Man's suit's butt because Ant-Man's suit just makes him shrink but have the strength of a human, whereas Iron Man's suit lets him go up against the Hulk and Thor. So,
I think that's it. If we don't want to give any more spoilers, do you think of anything else?
Maybe the relationship between the titular character and his daughter.
Oh yeah, that was definitely shown a lot as.
Yeah.
I think it definitely shows that Ant-Man is one of the more connectable superheroes, because like every other Avenger is either a Norse god or a genetically engineered human or a rich guy. Ant-Man's a regular guy with regular first world problems. Like he obviously his ex-wife, his daughter, and his daughter absolutely loves him.
Also, he was in prison for theft.
He was in prison for theft, so you could definitely relate to the guy a lot more than the other Avengers or most other superheroes. And I think they went to great lengths to show the bond between them is what like gives Scott his will to be a superhero essentially. It's like he's too distracted in the beginning learning how to be Ant-Man, but he's told focus on your daughter and realize that you want to be with her no matter what. It gives him the will to control the ants.
Yeah.
Which is another thing this movie really did well is...
Yeah, as silly as it is sort of, you know...
It's a believable thing that any person going to movie theater watching can connect to. Anyone who has a child or anyone who has a sibling can connect to how
I still think
Scott feels.
I still think just the idea of putting controlling the ants into the movie was just sort of weird and maybe unnecessary. They did make it work, but
they made it work. But I think that was Paul Rudd's
weird
decision because I think I was reading the book and he loves ants, so I think that and he worked on the script and worked directing the movie, so I think that might have been his decision to include the ants. I'm not 100% sure on that.
And, you know, now that I think about it, since Spider-Man basically belongs to Marvel and Disney again, they could have Spider-Man versus Ant-Man.
Although, if I believe Spider-Man, they're going to be rebooting Spider-Man again, obviously, because they have, for the second time. Like, they didn't need to
believe that.
Okay. I think they should have just kept with Andrew Garfield, honestly. They don't need to reboot again, they just want to. But he's gonna... So, they set up Phase 3, which will be, obviously, Captain America Civil War, a new Spider-Man movie, the Avengers 3, and probably, like, Thor 3, and I guess an Ant-Man 2. But Spider-Man's gonna be in his own movie, and from what I hear, they're trying to get him into Civil War. At least Marvel wants to put him in Civil War somehow.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he'll have an actual like role where like he'll be involved in the Civil War.
I think I heard that in the comic books it was sort of like you either pick Tony Stark's side or you pick Captain America's side, but he was sort of in between and didn't know which side to choose, and they were kind of the two were kind of, well, whose side are you on?
Yeah,
sort of thing.
That kind of sounds like a role Spider-Man would play. Yeah, I guess if you had to give Ant-Man, I guess, a rating, so to speak, if you had 5 stars to give a rating, what do you think your rating would be?
4, 4.5.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. They were like the minor little things. Like it was almost perfect. Like the very small things, like the inclusion of Falcon. Well, not sure I guess the weight issue kept it from being a perfect superhero movie. It was as close as a perfect movie as you can get. And I lost my train of thought, but I think that's it. So
Yeah.
Definitely go check it out, either in 2D or 3D. We saw it in 2D.
Yeah,
Don't like
because
3D glasses.
Yeah.
But also, if you wouldn't mind going in the description, there'll be a link to my channel if you want to check me out, and also keep up with this channel if you want. There'll be a lot more of this, I guess.
Yeah.
And definitely, we'll be seeing all the movies we mentioned, I think. I definitely want to, and probably doing these again. So, until next time.
Bye.
Bye.